What's going on, guys? This is Mr. Teach, 66 Movie Reviews. I am Mr. Teach. Ah! What the heck is that noise, you may ask? Well, it's the roar of my favorite monster of all time, Godzilla. Oh, I've been watching Godzilla since I was a wee lad. TNT used to have a thing called Monster Vision, where they would show old school monster movies from like the 60s, the 50s, you know, all the way up back to the 40s, I believe. And they would have Godzilla double features on sometimes, and oh boy, yeah, that was my day right there. I loved it. I've actually wanted to review a Godzilla movie for a while, but I haven't really, figured out which one I want to do. But after watching today's review, or today's movie, I've picked one. And it is 1971, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, or Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, as it was renamed for American release. The plot: there's a big monster named Hedorah. It's basically made of pollution, and it's terrorizing Japan. And then Godzilla has to stop it, and it's spewing pollution into the air, which is gonna make the air unbreathable. But it also eats pollution or eats smog. It consumes pollution basically. So bad stuff happens, and Godzilla has to save the day. Stereotypical Godzilla plot. Nothing really special about it. I don't know really how to review this movie because, of course, it's stupid. It's inane. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. It's frequently unintentionally hilarious. Actually, for the most part, always unintentionally hilarious. So today, I took some notes, and I'm just going to sort of rattle off, the silly, stupid, ridiculous things which have happened in this movie. First of all, at one point, a baby and a cat are covered in sludge. There's a part where, the sludge from the monster comes down a staircase, and there's a cat in the sludge, and it's a real cat, it's covered in, black goo or whatever, and it's just man, that cat had a real bad day, and it's clearly a real cat, it's not a puppet or anything. And there's another part where, basically, a series of TV screens come on the screen. It's supposed to be reactions of people on the street and everything like that. And in one of the TV screens, there's a baby covered in sludge. An infant. I mean, it's only up to about here. I'm sure the baby was safe, but it's just wow. I've never seen that before. The fact that they put a baby in sludge is just mind-blowing, because you couldn't do that anymore. Actually, I don't even know if you could do that back then. There's random animated sequences. Out of the blue, it becomes a cartoon. It has no reason to be there. I don't know if it's cost-saving techniques or what, but all of a sudden you're watching a monster movie, and all of a sudden, oh, animation. Sure, okay. I'm telling you, Godzilla looks drunk in this movie. His facial his movements are just I don't know. To me, it was just like he was drunk, and he does this ridiculous hand motion whenever he's fighting Hedorah. He goes sort of like something along those lines. I'm like, why is he doing that? Does Hedorah smell? It just makes no damn sense whatsoever. Even the music they use is, because they don't use the classic Godzilla theme from the other films. It's this, they use this. No, I'm not doing it very well, but that's the basic idea, and it sounds like drunk music. It sounds like something is stumbling around, comedic drunk music. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's just me, but yeah. Godzilla's drunk in this movie, in my opinion. The screams are really fake. I mean, obviously the dubbing is ridiculous and awful, but of course you know that, because it's a Godzilla movie, but there's just parts where it's just ah! Ah! I love these movies so much. The dialogue. There's a couple howlers which I may never forget. It was a negative world of death is what one scientist describes where the Hedorah lives. He lives in what the hell was he saying? He's Hedorah lives in a world we do not populate. A negative world of death. A negative world of death. I have no words for that one. And another point, a scientist is talking to his son, because there's a little kid in the movie too. He runs around and does stuff. He goes, "Where does Godzilla come from?" And the father, who's a scientist, goes, "A sticky, dark planet." I don't even know what to say. Okay. That's a really crappy planet to live on, isn't it? A Godzilla toy at the beginning of the movie, because this little kid's playing with a Godzilla toy, because I guess they make toys of monsters which destroy cities now. Sure, okay. He puts it on a slide and sends it down the slide, and the camera zooms in on this. I'm like, what is the point of that? I don't know. And then it does it again and again. I'm like, there's no point to that. What point whatsoever is there? And we definitely have to talk about the psychedelic visuals, because there's a part where like a teenager, I think in his, or maybe in his early 20s, goes to a club, and it's like the most cheesy, cliched, like 60s style psychedelic club with like, you know, rockin' music, you know, lava lamps on the screen. It feels like a totally different movie, and I don't even know what to make of it. You're just like, okay, sure, great. What else? There's a couple of sequences where Hedorah, because the monster can basically turn into other forms, and one of its forms is a flying form, and it flies over stuff, and it spews like pollution, and you know, it knocks people out. There's a couple points where like it goes over a crowd, and the crowd just falls down, but it's the most obviously fake, like synchronized, you know, falling down sequence I've ever seen. It is just like, ugh, it just looks ridiculously fake. Oh Jesus. I told you about the sequence of TV screens, which, you know, pop up and with a bunch of people going, you know, we must destroy Hedorah now, blah, blah, blah. Then there's one point where they turn into colored blocks, and it looks like something out of a bad 60s or 70s TV show, like the Partridge Family or something. I'm just like, what am I looking at right now? At one point, there's these teenage kids, the teenage kids who were in the club, decide they're going to have a party on top of Mount Fuji to celebrate some kind of protest. I don't know. The movie's so inane, I can't even understand what the fucking hell is going on. But yeah, they have a party on top of Mount Fuji. And wouldn't you know it, Hedorah and Godzilla show up. Because, why not? Because, and then they bring this kid who's like 6. Why are you bringing a kid that's 6 to a party like that? It doesn't make any sense. The dubbing is absolutely atrocious, even for Godzilla movie standards. Oh no, we must go now. I mean, I've seen some bad dubbing, but this one takes the cake. The kid has a psychic connection with Godzilla. I don't know why. It's never explained, but yeah, he can basically sense when Godzilla's showing up, and like, he has dreams about Godzilla. I don't even know what to make of it. At one point, the teens that are, you know, having the party on top of Mount Fuji try and attack Hedorah with torches. Oh yeah, that's gonna work real well. I mean, they should go, let's get him. And they throw the torches at him. And then when they cut to the monster, it's matches. It literally is matches being thrown at the screen. Oh God, I laughed hard. At one point when Godzilla and Hedorah are fighting, I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, Hedorah takes a big shit on Godzilla. Like, he's got Godzilla down, he's got him in a trench because he's beating him up, you know? And, like, goo, like, spews out from his bottom part, and it's shit. It literally looks like he's taking a shit on him. Godzilla has been shit on. And probably one of the best parts, maybe the best part of this movie, Godzilla flies. He flies. He uses his radioactive breath and flies back as, like, jet propulsion, I guess, and flies backwards. That was about worth it, you know, to see that. So, those are my main points I came up with. I don't even know how to rate this movie. I mean, I love Godzilla, so there's that nostalgic factor, but if I was going to give it, like, an actual rating, an actual filmmaking quality, like a 3, it is god-awful, but I loved it. But on a Godzilla movie scale, like a 9. This movie is a blast. Get a bunch of drinks together and just, you know, have a fun time. I'm gonna have to come down the middle on this. I'm gonna say probably a 6.5. I love this movie, even though it's god awful. But it's a Godzilla movie, of course. What do you expect? So yeah, if you know what you're getting into, absolutely watch this movie. So. That's it for this week for Mr. TH 666 Movie Reviews. I am Mr. TH, and I'll see you next time.